Do you know what the goal is of posting on your social media? Do you have a plan in place to help you to maximize your time and your efforts when it comes to social media marketing? If not, or even if you just feel like you need a refresher, this episode is for you. We're going to be talking about 3 goals for social media marketing as a real estate agent to help you to maximize the time and effort that you are putting into social media and to make sure that you can stay focused on what's truly important in what you are trying to achieve when it comes to social media marketing. Welcome back to the Modern Real Estate Mama podcast. I'm your host, Braden McKee, a boy mom of 2, Phoenix, Arizona native, and I was a real estate agent full-time for 7.5 years, and now I am here teaching you business and marketing strategies for modern real estate mamas that want to build a business they love while also raising their families and prioritizing their families and creating a lifestyle that they ultimately love. So grab your iced coffee because we are going to be chatting all things real estate, business, marketing, mindset, and motherhood support. Okay, so it's probably no secret that social media marketing is a really valuable tool, and I definitely think that as a mom in real estate that you should be incorporating a social media marketing strategy into your business. Social media is a great way to get your content and get yourself as a business owner in front of multiple people instead of a one-to-one form of marketing or prospecting like cold calling and door knocking and things like that. But what I don't want you to do is to be spending all of this time creating social media content or spending time on social media thinking that just because you're on social media means that it's going to be beneficial for your business. Ultimately, you should have something you're working towards when it comes to your social media marketing strategy. You should have a goal in mind or multiple goals, and we're going to kind of talk about that. So today I want to talk to you about the first 3 goals that I think are important when you're implementing a social media marketing strategy as a real estate agent. Now, before we get into this episode is brought to you by our partner, the Modern Agent Social Club. So if you are new here, or if you're not, we are partnered with the Modern Agent Social Club. So this is a content marketing membership where they give you monthly social media posts and templates, reels ideas, story ideas. There are stock photos for you to use for branding purposes and for your lead magnets and your content. There are lead magnet and campaigns to go along with that to help you further nurture people to become clients. There's email templates and so much more, along with a community, networking, and then implementation tools. So if you are looking to be more consistent on social media, you want to implement social media and spend less time trying to figure out what to post, what the strategy is, anything, I would highly recommend that you join Modern Agent Social Club. The doors are open now, and you can get your first month free by using our code Modern Mama in the link down in the description and show notes. So if you are ready to get serious about implementing social media marketing, or you just want more support when it comes to ideas, content creation, what's working in the social media space as a realtor, then I highly recommend Modern Agent Social Club. If I could start my real estate career all over again and start with Modern Agent Social Club from day one, that would be the first step I would take when it comes to marketing my business and starting off on a really strong foot with the social media landscape as a real estate agent. Okay, so if you are ready to implement social media or you already are using social media, but you're kind of going about it in a way where you feel like it's not super organized, or you've just kind of been skipping to the beat of your own drum. I don't know if that's the right phrase. You probably know what I mean though. But if you're just going about it and you don't really have a plan or a process in place, I want to talk about the top 3 goals that I would encourage you to focus on or to consider as goals. And there's a lot more goals than this, but I think that if you're going about it right now and you don't really have a plan or a strategy or a goal in mind besides just helping your business, here's what I think are some things that you could focus on. So the very first goal that I think with social media marketing is just showing up consistently. So consistency does not mean you need to be showing up every single day. But I do believe that in some form or fashion, you could be implementing a daily routine when it comes to social media, even if you're just sharing like one quick behind the scenes photo a day or even like 5 days a week. But decide what consistently looks like for you. Consistency with social media marketing could be that you post 3 times a week, every single week. And that is your consistency. That's consistent because every single week your audience knows that you're making 3 posts, or Instagram knows, or Facebook, right? They know you're posting 3 times a week every single week. So consistency does not mean that you need to post every single day, or that you need to have your phone on you 24/7 documenting every single thing that you're doing, making reels out of it, making videos, taking photos. Like, that's not what it means. But it just means having a plan and a frequency that you are sticking to over time. The reason that I think that showing up consistently on social media is important is because I feel like when it's consistent, it becomes more of a habit and a routine, and you don't have to force it as much at that point. When you are starting something new, or you are implementing something and you're not doing it consistently, or you haven't done it consistently up until that point, I do believe that it is a little bit harder, and it takes not only more time typically, but I also think it kind of takes more brain space and energy, because you are implementing and you're doing something new and you're kind of stretching muscles that aren't used to working. And so it's not that it's necessarily, all that hard, but it is taking up more brain space, or you are having to practice at it more, in a sense, when you're not used to being consistent. And that's with anything new that you're doing, that you're trying to be consistent at. That could be with working out, eating healthy, trying out new things in your home life, trying out a new hobby. It takes time and muscle and routine and habit to really be consistent there. So showing up consistently also gives people who are following along with your content some kind of expectation. It's not that you're telling them, hey, I'm posting consistently 3, 4, 5 times a week. It's not that you're telling them that, but it's that they come to know what to expect from you. And I believe with real estate, it can be beneficial to be consistent, even if it's 3 posts a week, even if it's 2 posts a week, because people come to know, okay, every single week without fail, she's consistent at these 3 posts a week. I know what to expect from her. And I think that can kind of translate subliminally. I can't talk, you guys. Anyways, it translate in the back of their mind. I feel like that kind of goes into a little bank of what they know and believe about you. So if they believe that you're consistent on social media, I also believe that they're going to think that you're consistent with your real estate business, or they're going to believe that you're consistent with your communication. That consistency translates to what they believe and know about you as an agent overall. Even if you're hey, I'm not doing consistent deals, I'm not doing a consistent 2 or 3 deals like I want to every single month, I believe that in their mind, they're going to give you credit for consistency, even if they're not actively thinking that. I think that's just the way the human brain works. So I believe they're going to think that you're more consistent, and that is going to be attributed to your character and what they believe and know about you, because that's what they see on social media. So that's why I think showing up consistently is the first thing that you should consider as a goal with your social media marketing strategy. Goal number 2 is that I believe you should be trying to connect with and highlight more of your local community. So I know that there is kind of this idea with social media marketing that you can connect with a global audience, right? Which is absolutely true. Although if you don't speak the language, it's a little bit harder. If you're trying to reach somebody that does not speak the same language, that's a tangent we don't need to go into. But yes, you do potentially have the opportunity to reach people globally with social media. But as a real estate agent, should that be your goal? Now, maybe you are growing a luxury team and you are trying to attract more buyers for a property that are global. Okay, sure, maybe that could be your goal. But for a lot of you right now, you are trying to build a local database and brand awareness in a very hyper local spot. So for you, that could be Denver, Colorado, Nashville, Tennessee. That could be a small little town in Iowa, a small little town in Maine, right? If that's you, and you're like, okay, I don't need right now, like that does not need to be my focus. I don't need to be thinking about the whole entire world. I need to be thinking about Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, well, even Nashville, Tennessee is huge, but that's besides the point, right? It's about focusing in on the most important areas. And so with social media, you do have the opportunity to connect with people who are more local. And if you don't already know them, highlighting your local area is something that is going to attract and connect you with more of your local community, because your local community cares about what's going on locally. Okay, have I said local 100 times yet? But they care. And so if you're trying to build a database of people that are around you, and you know that the people that are most likely to hire you to buy or sell a house is going to be somebody in your area or somebody potentially moving to that area, then you need to be highlighting and connecting with more people in the area. And so how do you do that? You highlight things going on, you highlight local businesses, you engage with hashtags in local businesses on social media. You talk about it, on your stories or in your content, right? And the reason that I think this is like the second most important goal for a real estate agent, especially if you're newer into implementing a social media marketing strategy, is because you want to focus on the more attainable things first, or you want it to be like a stair-step approach. So if the first thing is showing up consistently, okay, you show up consistently, now you're adding in connecting with more of your local community, because you're more likely to connect more with your local community before you go statewide, and then before you go countrywide, before you go global, right? So yes, maybe eventually you do want to connect with people globally with your social media. Maybe you do want to build a global real estate empire. Absolutely, but is that where you start? Not usually, unless you have tons of money for ads and expansion and things like that, which we're not going to get into. But I believe that the first step in you getting the business and being able to expand is to really connect with more people in the immediate area that you are located, or the immediate area that you are trying to work. And let's just say you're working with a lot of incoming relocation clients. There are a lot of people on social media that are specifically looking at content and businesses and things like that in areas that they're looking to relocate in, that if you are posting about what's going on in your local area, what's there, what it's like to live there, all of that, I believe that some of those people are going to naturally find your content because they're looking and they care, because they're considering moving to that area. So if you're like, okay, well, I do work a lot of relocation, I still think you should be looking to connect with and highlight more of your local community as one of your main goals, because they're going to find your content. And there's other strategies if you are looking to be a relocation agent that I believe we've touched on the podcast, but I could do a specific podcast on working relocation, because that was one of my niches, was being a relocation agent. I worked with a ton of relocation buyers and a few sellers, but more so buyers coming into my area. Again, they care. If they're looking to move somewhere, they're researching. They are looking at that area and they want to know, is it, especially if they have a choice in the relocation, but even sometimes not, say your spouse moves or is getting a job and you have to move, right? You're like, okay, well, I have to move with my spouse. And I want to know, Are there like cute coffee shops? Like what kind of, what kind of family friendly stuff? Like, is there stuff for my toddlers? What is the climate and the environment like of, what's going on in the city and the events and everything like that? They care and they're going to be looking for it. So you do have opportunity to also connect with inbound people by highlighting and creating the local content and being well connected via social media to your local community. And then the last goal that I think this is a little bit more, I wouldn't say complicated, but I feel like it sounds complicated, which is really to create a lifestyle brand using your social media. What I really mean by that is that you take it just beyond real estate and like the just sold and the just listed in the houses like themselves, and you really create and highlight that lifestyle that your clients are searching for. So let's say that your clients are super into like golf and tennis and pickleball, and they like to go to the local brewery on the weekends, and they're really interested, in staying connected with the nonprofits in the area and things like that, right? That is all a part of their lifestyle. And while it may not directly tie to real estate, you know that these are things that they also care about in addition to real estate. And so if these are your people, you want to really connect with them on more than just the real estate front. And you want to really sell that lifestyle, especially like, thinking about selling somebody on potentially buying or selling a home, right? Or potentially hiring you. Or maybe you're trying to sell a specific home, for a listing, and you're trying to think about like who's likely to move into this neighborhood. So if you've got a really nice, community area in the neighborhood, and they do, nonprofit events are hosted there, and they've got the golf course, 1 mile down the road, and they've got the tennis courts and the pickleball courts here in the community, and you're creating that lifestyle, talking about like the things that people care about more than just the house. I'm not saying you abandon the real estate, but you're talking about the things that they care about that are going to matter to them on a day-to-day basis. That is where I believe that creating the lifestyle and selling the lifestyle is going to set you apart from the people who are just posting the graphics and the just listed, just sold, the open house flyers and things like that. It's going to separate you. And I think it's going to connect you with more people for a longer term relationship on a deeper level. And it's something that a lot of people think that they just need to be like the billboard on social media, right? And yes, you do have to advertise, you do have to sell, and selling isn't bad. But if the only thing that you're doing is just selling the real estate, the home specifically, it doesn't differentiate you and it doesn't create a brand, and you're not going to connect with those people who are not ready to do something or that want more. They want the relationship, and they want to know that you are connected and that you know about the lifestyle and what's important to them. And so I think creating and highlighting the lifestyle aspect of your community, your area, your individual brand, and what your interests are and like who your ideal clients are is so important to really set yourself apart from other people on social media and create the brand that is recognizable. And the brand is like, what do people think about you, right? So if somebody thinks about you and all like they're like, oh yeah, is that real estate? I think, the girl on real estate that does real estate on Instagram, and she does like the just listed and open house photos every day. It's like, okay, that actually could be like 25, maybe 30 or more other agents in your area, right? But if they're like, oh yeah, isn't that the girl that goes golfing and she's really involved in that nonprofit for the kids in the area, and she always is like talking about the pickleball events that she's going to, like, don't you think that's going to be a little bit more different and set you apart doing that and branding that lifestyle of how the community is and your interest in your brand over just the same just listed and open house flyers everybody else is posting. And again, if you're only posting just listed and just sold in open house flyers, it's not that it's bad. I just think that you have so much more potential. And I also think that you do risk looking the same as everybody else in doing that, or even starting to look outdated, because I think that strategy is quite a few years old now, and I don't think people are responding to those as much. I do think that they'll take it into account and like they'll kind of log it in their brain, but I don't think it's going to connect you as well as creating a lifestyle type of brand with your social media content. There are a lot more goals that I could talk about with social media marketing, and maybe that could be another podcast episode at another time. But when you are looking at implementing social media marketing as a real estate agent, these are like 3 of the main goals, especially if you are newer or you are really trying to become serious with your social media, that I would be looking into and be considering, like, should I be focusing on these goals with my strategy? The reason that you want to focus on goals, even when it comes to something like posting on Instagram, is you want to know where you're going, and you want to have that that destination or that goal in mind to keep you focused. That way you don't start going off at every trend and every turn in the road or every change and start having a mini panic, because one, you're going to start wasting more and more time doing that. But also it's kind of stressful. And if your goal has stayed the same and your goal is the same and you have it in the forefront of everything you're doing when it comes to Instagram or social media marketing, you know what you need to do, or the direction, and the parameters of what you're working in, right? And so you can ignore the things that don't apply, you can ignore the things that don't work for you, and ultimately that's going to help you to be more successful in the long run, because you're not having to second guess and you're not having to try to let other things like infiltrate the strategy and infiltrate like what you're trying to do. Ultimately, it's going to keep you focused, and it's going to also be, I think, a little bit more timeless for you in the long run, because platforms change, the trends change, all of that stuff, right? But your goals and your strategy long term don't have to rely on the trends and the platform changes if you know what you're working towards. You don't have to worry as much about those things. Again, I would highly recommend that you check out Modern Agent Social Club. Every single month, you're going to get 30 plus social media posts and captions, highly customizable. So your content never has to look the same as anybody else in your market, and you can completely brand it to yourself and or your team and what your goals and interests are. You're also going to get resources for implementation, like the community calls and the Facebook group. There's a private podcast that comes out every single week, as well as a weekly game plan email, so you know exactly what things you can implement for that week ahead to be successful and consistent. You're also going to get resources like the framework training, which is the foundation of your social media marketing strategy, and you're also going to get other things that can help you to grow your email list and further nurture people that you are meeting on social media and taking them off of social media and onto your email list, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. Growing your email list is so important as an agent, because God forbid you lose your social media, or your account gets hacked, or the social media platform changes and gets shut down, or whatever it might be. You can still stay in front of the people you've started connections and relationships with through email marketing. You can stay directly into their inbox. So go check out Modern Agent Social Club. Get your first month free with the code ModernMama in all caps, one word. Check out the link. It's down in the description below. And if you have any questions about joining Modern Agent, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions, let you know my experience. I will say that the referral network paid for my membership. I didn't get referrals right away, but in the later part of when I was doing real estate full-time as an agent, it definitely paid for my membership for all that time that I was a member. So if you're looking to grow your referral network as well, that is one extra bonus to the membership that is extremely helpful. And you have a lot of opportunity there because the community is so awesome and engaged. All right. I hope this episode was helpful for you to stay consistent and keep your goals and your focus when it comes to social media marketing. Go check out Modern Agent Social Club, or let me know what you are loving right now with what you're doing on social media. And of course, if you haven't already joined us in our Facebook group, come join us on Facebook. We have a growing community and more engagement and conversations. We are starting a new monthly networking collaboration call starting next week, which I'm super excited about. So come check out our group for details on that. And if you haven't already, would you mind leaving me a quick 5-star review? If you're on Apple, also a couple lines or a sentence or two would be really helpful so that we can stay in front of realtor moms that want to build a brand, a family, and just an overall lifestyle that they love while maintaining their priorities. That would mean so much to me and the community. And I hope you have a great week, and I will see you or talk with you on the next episode.